Oh, is it Nasruddin Yakubu, Managing Partner, Trilogy Limited? You're welcome, sir. The representative of the head of Department of Physics, Professor M.E. Onoja, you're welcome, sir. Please come forward. You're welcome, sir. All other invited guests, you all are welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier, we are all on schedule, so we kickstart the events proper. And based on a tradition here in Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, each time we find ourselves in a gathering like this, we seek divine intervention for the blessings of the program. May we take 30 seconds to pray according to individual faith, please. Amen. Amen. Next is the national anthem. May we all rise for the national anthem, please.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Those tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all are proud to set our sovereign land. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace, all back to honor, and this we can't escape. To hang on to our children, our banner without stain. As from now we proclaim, from hills and valleys we've come to draw from the stream of knowledge. Our duty is to succeed in learning and service. As is our goal, Ahmadu Bello University, in our dreams we shall achieve. We give thanks to Almighty Allah, in Him we derive our strength. We dutifully shall have the ways of good learning. North to south, east to west, your name shall always be. Ahmadu Bello University, a citadel of great learning.
Thank you very much. We will sit. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed, may I also acknowledge the presence of the head of Department of Mathematics, Professor I.E. Flatton. You're welcome, sir. Professor E.A. Adidokun, you're welcome, sir. Please, Professor E.A. Adidokun, come to the high table. Thank you. And the next is the opening remarks. And to deliver the opening remarks, may I invite the Dean Student Affairs, Professor Sahal Junaidu. Please can we put our hands together for the Dean while he comes for the opening remarks.
Thank you. The Vice Chancellor, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Professor Adamu Ahmed, ably represented today by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor Bello, the Dean, Faculty of Physical Sciences, the Director, Distance Learning Center, Professor M.B. Moazu, the Director, Iya Walker Institute of ICT, Professor E.A. Adedokun, the Head of Department of Mathematics, Professor Kulatan, the Head Department of Computer Science, Professor Kana, other deans and directors here present, heads of department here present, professors, invited guests, our great students, staff, our security personnel, the media team. The list is long, so everybody here that is a stakeholder, we welcome you to the third International Conference on Computing and Advances in Information Technology. Today, 18th of November, 2025, up to the 20th of November 2025, with the theme leveraging AI to drive sustainable growth in emerging technologies, in emerging economies. Mr. Vice Chancellor, as you have seen on the invitation, this is the third edition of this conference. Just by way of a quick reminder, the first edition took place in 2021, November 15 to 17, with the theme Fostering Digital Economy Through Recent Trends in IT. The second edition took place 2 years after, in 2023, exactly November 21 to 23, with the theme Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Developing Nations. Now in that, the last edition, we have recorded about 65 technical paper submissions, out of which 48 were accepted and about 9%, or 8 of them were rejected. Now today, we are witnessing the third of this international conference that I said earlier is running from today 18 to the 20th of this month, with the theme leveraging AI to drive sustainable growth in emerging economies. In this edition, Mr. Chairman, we have received 95 technical papers submitted, out of which 72 were accepted, recording a rejection rate of about 24%. So the reviewers have tightened up their scrutiny from 9% rejection to 24% rejection. And these papers are to cover various areas of application of artificial intelligence, from artificial intelligence for economic growth to artificial intelligence in education, artificial intelligence in agriculture, artificial intelligence in artificial intelligence in healthcare, and of course, not left out, the ethics in AI. As the guest speakers and the technical paper presenters will present, we are poised to learn quite a lot from these various areas that AI can be applied. So fellow stakeholders, as the past editions of this international conference have been successful, I am confident that this edition will be much more successful, inshallah. I therefore invite you all to participate fully and to network widely for the success of this edition. Finally, this conference will not be a success, or I want to say that the organizers have lined up right from the guest speech, which is to be provided by Malam Kashibu Inwa Abdullah, his CCIE, the DG CEO of National Information Technology Development Agency, to keynote speech number 1 by Dr. Tutut Erawan of University Malaya, Malaysia, to Dr. Sadiq Sani, University of Greenwich, United Kingdom, who was once a student in this department, to keynote speech number 3 by Professor Aisha Abdul Qadir from ABU Zaria. She's one of the speakers. And last but not the least, by Professor Ezugu Epsilon, who was also from Northwest University, South Africa, who was also one time a student in this department. So with this array of speakers and other paper presenters, I am sure we will have a lot to learn and a lot to renew from this important topic. So I therefore invite you all to participate fully and to network widely for the success of this country, for this conference. Finally, the department wishes to appreciate the university management for their support and for providing an enabling environment for this biannual workshop to be offered since 2021. We are most grateful to our guest speaker and our keynote speakers who have dedicated their time to prepare. And we also apologize for starting a little behind schedule. We also want to appreciate all our sponsors, one of whom is here, already introduced, Nasiruddin Yakubu, who is the managing partner of Trilogy Limited. Trilogy has been assisting throughout the inception of this program in many other ways. We also appreciate NIDA, Nigerian Communication Commission, Galaxy Backbone, DBI, Fledgling AI Charity, and Foundation Speed. All of these people have contributed in one way or another, Mr. Vice Chancellor, for the success of this workshop. And I also want to, of course, the HOD will do a much more befitting acknowledgement at the end of the this session. So nevertheless, I want to also use this opportunity to thank all those who have contributed in one way or another for the success of this program. So I wish us successful deliberation and trips back to our destination at the end of this program. So I thank you all and welcome to ICCAIT 2025 once more. Good morning. Thank you.
Please, can we put our hands together once again for the Dean? You can do better. Thank you. Because as it is right now, I cannot see anyone here is hungry. So, you can do better once again. Thank you very much, Dean Sir. And it is our prayers that the deliberations from this conference will solve many societal problems as far as the Nigerian society is concerned. Once again, thank you very much, sir. And quickly, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with the permission of the Vice Chancellor, before we proceed, may I also acknowledge the presence of the Head of Department of Chemistry, Professor Esu Idris. You're welcome, sir. Please, you should also come to the high table, sir. You're welcome. Next on the agenda, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, is another remark by the co-host of today's event, the Dean Faculty of Physical Sciences, Professor I. Abdulkadir. Please, can we also put our hands together for the Dean while he comes for his remarks.
Good morning, all. Let me start by apologizing, especially to the chief host and to our distinguished visitors this morning. I actually, sometimes when you have a lot running in your head, I knew this conference was supposed to be for 18, but somehow my brain was registering 18 for tomorrow. And so I was comfortably seated with my HOD of chemistry when I got a phone call that the VC is on his way for this conference. And so I took off at the speed of, maybe speed of light, because I didn't want the HOD to be in this venue before myself. And I was very lucky I got here before him. So I hope that my apology is accepted. Yeah. So I wanted to prepare a very nice welcome address, but unfortunately, because of what I just said, I couldn't speak one. But all the same, I'm going to do was I'm going to welcome everybody here on behalf of the chief host, the Vice Chancellor, ably represented by the DDC admin, Professor Bello Sabo, the Dean Student Affairs, Professor Salu Junaidu, HOD Computer Science, Professor Kana, the Director of the DLC, and every other distinguished guest present, our distinguished keynote speakers, and those that are present here with us today. The Faculty of Science houses 7 departments, and one of the departments that is doing fantastically is computer science. The computer science department is going to be introducing new programs very soon, so that to bolster and to give more power to studies in computer science and disciplines related to computer science. So this is going to be by way of a message that probably from next year you are going to be seeing a flurry of new courses from the Department of Computer Science, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. So I welcome everybody here, all the participants. When you come to a conference like this, it is an avenue for you to share ideas, meet people of like minds, people who share professional aspirations with, create linkages, and try to see how you can prepare for coordinate and do work together, create linkages and work together in the future. So I hope this gathering is going to give us one of such wonderful opportunities. as you go through the programs of the conference, make sure to do that with our scientists here in computer science. The fact that this is the third conference actually shows that, like Prof stated earlier, it started in 2021. So it is growing from strength to strength. It is biennial, so expectedly in 2 years' time, we will be inviting you to come to Ahmadu Bello University Zaria for another of such conferences. And we hope to have more invigorated, participation and discussion. We want to challenge our brains. We want to challenge, our capabilities to see that even in the field of computer science, Nigerians can actually contribute their own quota and do so wonderfully. So I welcome you all. As you go through this conference, also take time, go through Ahmadu Bello University and look at the beautiful things that we have around, so that you don't just come and do only conferencing without going through the school and enjoying what we have around. So welcome to the third biennial conference of the International Conference of the Computer Sciences. Biennial conference. Enjoy your stay while it lasts. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Dean Sir. Please can we once again put our hands together for the Dean. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, while the Dean was giving his remarks, we were also privileged to have in our midst one of our guest speakers for today, the Head Department of Soil Science, Professor Aisha Abdulkadir. You're welcome, sir. Please, there is also a seat for you reserved on the high table. Thank you, ma'am. And the next, going by the agenda, is goodwill messages. And to start with, may I invite the Director, Distance Learning Center, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, Professor M.B. Maazu. Please, let's also put our hands together for the Director while he comes for the goodwill message. Keep clapping while he comes. Keep clapping. You can do better. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Good morning to you all, and it's a pleasure to be invited to the third biennial conference. And I think it's pertinent that yet again, after the second edition, which focused on AI, we're still talking about AI and its role in emerging economies. And I think it's very pertinent that we really begin to look at AI aside from just a tool that we can use to maybe enhance our learning processes and rest, but also to begin to look at AI as a possibility to enhance our economic growth. So it's hoped that by the end of this conference, we're going to be able to have very pertinent pathways to actually harnessing the powers of AI in order to help our economy. So it's a pleasure, and on behalf of the DLC, we wish all the participants a successful outing at the conference. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you very much, Director, sir. Next is the Director ICT, Professor E.A. Adudokun, sorry. For the goodwill message, sir. I know you've been caught unawares about Thank you, sir.
Good morning, the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, all these directors present, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's good to be here this morning. Thank you for inviting us. And, like Professor Ahmadu just said, AI is something that has become very important for everybody to get involved with.
with. And as we are discussing today, or in the next couple of days, about how to enhance our economy with the use of AI, how to leverage on them, I hope and believe that at the end of this conference, that we will come out with very specific guidelines and speaking to our teams on how to leverage on AI. So once again, thank you, everybody. I was asking the HOD that we didn't have this agreement when he asked me to come, but he said I should just say something, so I'll say something. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, you have said something. Please, can we once again put our hands together for the director? Thank you very much, sir. And the next is quickly the head of Department of Mathematics, Professor I.E. Flatten. Can we also put our hands together for him, please, while he comes forward? A goodwill message in 1 minute.
Good morning, everybody. The Vice Chancellor Ahmadu University, represented by the number 2 man, Vice Chancellor Bello, the Dean Student Affairs, the Dean Faculty of Physical Science, the Computer Science, my Dean, and the Director, DSC. Welcome to this occasion. I simply want to congratulate and welcome you at the International Conference of this IA program. I'm not intending to talk much because I was not expecting to come in and talk. Whatever the case, I've said something. And I wish you the best from the beginning to the end of the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, HOD, sir. And quickly, on the list for the goodwill message, last but not the least, is the managing partner, Trilogy Limited, Nasiruddin Yakubu. 1 minute. Thank you. Please, let's also put our hands together for him while he comes for the goodwill message.
Thank you for having me. I want to use this medium to say congratulations. We are partners for life. At this juncture, I want to use this medium to say, if you refuse to use AI today, you are already outdated tomorrow. As we are crossing from AI to AGI, it's not a joke. I want to use this medium, as the government is here. Government to us is the university. To send strong warning and to create laws that criminalizes the use of videos that are fake by not putting tags that they are used by AI. It is all known to us that deepfakes are around and they are being promoted here and then. I belong to the emerging generation, whereby we train the children from age 6 to 17 on emerging technologies to enable them to speak the language of the future in an economy that is digitally driven. We train them using emerging technologies in an emerging way to use emerging technologies to elaborate the future. I'm a product of this department. I'm not a guest, but I'm paying back in a way that is supposed to be done. So I want to congratulate the department, and I want to tell the department at this juncture, we are writing a strong letter to the department that we want the department to partner with us in a written way. Because right now in our office in Abuja, we have more than 60 people who are from Harvard University, some universities in China that I didn't even know. And the funniest thing is that most of those who are training those students that come from those universities are from this school. It means we have good in us. If you refuse to use AI today, you are outdated tomorrow. AI is not here to take your job, unless if you refuse to use AI, there is no option. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, if you refuse to use AI today, you are outdated tomorrow. So looking at the rapid growth in emerging technologies, it is very important that you become IT compliant and update yourself every now and then. And of course, like you said, AI is not here to take our jobs. Rather, it's here to make our jobs better. And hence, the usage of AI becomes very significant in our respective activities, looking at, the metamorphosis of the society. Once again, thank you very much, sir. And distinguished ladies and gentlemen, having taken the goodwill messages at this point, I have the singular honor and privilege to invite for the welcome address the Vice Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Professor Adamu Ahmed, who is here ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor Bello Sabo. Please, can we put our hands together for the Vice Chancellor while he comes for the welcome address. Vice Chancellor will give the welcome address and at the same time declare the conference open. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Dean, Student Affairs Division, other directors present here, heads of departments, distinguished participants, the organizing committee, good morning, all of us. The Vice Chancellor, Professor Ahmed, wanted to be here personally to declare this conference open, but then incidentally, he's attending another important university assignment in Abuja. He requested that I should be here to stand in for him for this important conference. So my role this morning is a very simple one. Participants to this important conference. Now I'm happy to note that the Department of Computer Science has already established this culture of having biannual conference. And I think that is what we want. That is what the university will always try to encourage. So I want to, on behalf of Mr. Vice Chancellor, congratulate the faculty as well as the Department of Computer Science for sustaining this wonderful initiative. You will notice that if you look at the papers that this conference is targeting, they are all papers within the mainstream of computer science on the issue of artificial intelligence. Is somebody, like I had somebody mentioning that if you fail to use it today, you become outdated tomorrow. But I want to modify by saying that if you fail to use it today, you become outdated today. Yes. So I think this is very, very important. So I want to appeal to all participants to listen attentively to the papers that will be presented this morning and throughout the session, of course, and let's see how we can put heads together to appreciate these important innovations, these important techniques that by and large we are bound to accept, we are bound to utilize them if we really want to make a headway towards advancement in knowledge. We cannot fold our arms and refuse to accept some of these realities and then expect to make any headway in our societal development or our sustainability issues. So the choice of this team is therefore very, very important. And on behalf of Mr. Vice Chancellor, I want to welcome each and every one of you to this important conference. I have listened to the welcome address by the Dean Student Affairs, and I noted that this is one of the conferences that we consider a very, very serious one, in the sense that where you have a conference, I had him talking about 95 papers submitted and then about 72 of them, accepted. That means this conference has a standard. Any paper that will be presented will have to meet certain, level of expectation, certain standards, certain threshold. Otherwise, such paper is not accepted for this kind of gathering. And I think on that note, I want to commend the department for standing on this existing criterion of quality. In some other conferences elsewhere, you will notice that as many papers are submitted, so also as many as expected, acceptance letters that will be issued. Some time back, I submitted a paper for a conference, I think around 12 midnight, because I was trying to meet the target, the deadline. But then to my surprise, by 6 a.m. in the morning, I saw acceptance letter in my mailbox. I said, that means this is not a conference to go. And on the ground of that, I decided not to continue with the conference, and I had to withdraw my paper. So honestly, what the department has done this morning towards organizing this conference is something that is commendable. It is a conference that is a very serious one. So I want all the participants to also take it as serious as it is. And let us put heads together as scholars and see what we can come out with at the end of the day. I wish you successful deliberations. Thank you very much. Okay. Let me, on behalf of Mr. Vice Chancellor, use this singular privilege and honor to declare this conference open. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. Sir, please can we once again put our hands together for the Vice Chancellor? Thank you, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the conference has already been declared open. And with the permission of the Vice Chancellor, we move straight to a speech by our guest speaker for today, the Director General CEO, National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, Malam Kashifu Inwa Abdullahi. The title of his paper is Harnessing Artificial Intelligence for Secure and Sustainable Digital Transformation in Emerging Economies. Malam Inwa Kashifu Abdullahi is ably represented by Dr. Amina Sambu, who will make the presentation virtually. And if Dr. Amina is ready, he can go ahead with the presentation, please. We'll make the presentation virtually. And if Dr. Amina is ready, he can go ahead with the presentation, please. We'll make the presentation virtually. And if Dr. Amina is ready, he can go ahead with the presentation, please. We'll make the presentation virtually. And if Dr. Amina is ready, he can go ahead with the presentation, please. We'll make the presentation virtually. And if Dr. Amina is ready, he can go ahead with the presentation, please. We'll make the presentation virtually.
hear me? Okay, so it's echoing and it keeps repeating what is being said. Can you see my screen, please? Yes. So it's echoing and it keeps repeating. Okay. Thank you. Can you see my screen, please? Then I go ahead. I keep hearing voices. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I would like to acknowledge and appreciate the Vice Chancellor Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and also respectfully
We can hear you.
okay. So I would like to please stand on all existing protocols already established.
We can hear you.
I can get the permission of the representative of the Vice Chancellor that are existing protocols already established.
We can hear you.
I can get the once again, there's a lot of noise coming from my own side. Once again, there's a lot of noise coming from my own side. Okay, so once again, there's a lot of noise coming from my own side. Sorry, I'm not a graduate of ABU, but a graduate of ATBU. I would not say anything about the university, but I'm very proud to be an indigene of Zaria from Juba, Zaria. Alhamdulillah. So going back to my assignment, today my assignment is to represent the Director General and CEO of the National Information Technology Development Agency, Dr. Kashifu Inoa Abdullahi, CCIE, who is unavoidably absent today. He really wanted to be here, but he has other assignments, and I was asked to come in person, actually yesterday, but I just arrived from travel, and it was almost impossible for me to make it. And so we were granted this, and we truly, truly appreciate this partnership and this opportunity to be part of this third international conference on computing and advances in information technology. The topic given to the DG is very apt: harnessing AI for secure and sustainable digital transformation in emerging technologies. Again, it gives me pride and honor to be the one to represent him. Being someone who has background in computing science up to PhD level, focusing on AI, where I graduated 10 years ago, even when the concept of AI was still blurry to many, but of course not this audience, not this academic audience who has been part of research and development of various technologies. Why is today's topic really important? It's important because emerging economies like Nigeria, for example, stand at a very pivotal moment, right? Global innovation is accelerating faster than ever. People start to think about AI and start to want to learn AI based on the tools that are being developed. And every week, every hour, apps and tools are being developed for different sectors, for different things, and are being upgraded. So we're in a situation where AI technology is not secluded. It's not just an extra thing. It's now being integrated across almost everything. It's bringing in new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things, new ways of governance, for example, new ways of health, education, and enterprises. Who now realizes that you buy things, you pay for them, we're building trust with computers and applications without necessarily having access to physical goods. I, for example,
even when I came out 10 years ago, was a big deal for me to buy things out of like Instagram and Facebook, where vendors would go and advertise things, because the first things that come to my mind is, what if they don't give me what I want? What if they don't even, the business is not real? But these things are gradually being, evolving and being adopted, because we don't really have an option. They're easier, they're faster, they make things more efficient, and the trust is being built gradually. So what do nations need to do? Nations that act strategically today will shape the global digital economy of tomorrow. There's no doubt about it. So this keynote will explore Nigeria's journey, our national strategy, specifically the AI strategy, the role the National Information Technology Development Agency is playing towards building our digital economy, and also how cooperation, the need for cooperation, that's partnership, innovation, and responsible AI use can drive inclusive and sustainable development across Nigeria and other emerging economies. So for those that don't know, I usually ask this question: how many people know NIDA? And I'll ask for hands to be raised. Very important, because even as government agencies, we sit at the federal government and think that every other person knows who we are and what we do. But it's an opportunity for us to tell people who we are, what we do, and how they can benefit from it. So the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, was established in 2001 as the IT regulatory body in Nigeria. So our mandates are very clear and simple. We develop and regulate IT for national development. We implement the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy, which is NDEPS. We'll see a little bit about them later on in the slides. We promote digital literacy, digital education. What is the digital economy without digital literacy? Now we don't speak about general English literacy. We speak about digital literacy much more than that, because even when you do not speak English, but you're able to use the digital devices and benefit from the opportunities, you would have an upper hand than somebody who can speak English but does not know how to use these transformational tools. So we also foster IT infrastructure, standards, and local content. So our main business is in developing regulatory instruments to make and facilitate and support the use and leverage of digital technologies across Nigeria. The ministry that oversees us is the Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation, and Digital Economy. I would say, if at this point you stop me from having my presentation, my work is delivered, because I'm hopeful that everybody in the room, I'm not sure of the number, but over 100 people now know what NIDA is. But yes, I still have an assignment to continue. So what is the Nigeria's digital economy vision? We speak about digital transformation, we speak about digital economy, and every nation is building their own vision, where they want to be, strategies and frameworks and roadmaps that takes them from where they are to where they want to be. So Nigeria's digital economy is anchored by two important documents: NDEPS, National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy, which was developed to have a lifetime of 10 years, 2020 to 2030. And then, of course, the Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation, and Digital Economy Strategic Blueprint, which is meant for this administration. It also leverages on the NDEPS and strategically makes sure they identify pillars and initiatives that can be developed in order to help us achieve our unifying goal. So, picking out some pillars from these documents that are relevant to AI. The first is digital literacy and skills. What are these skills? So digital literacy skills is just the basic skills you'll be able to use to understand or use the digital tools, digital services, and digital platforms that exist out there. You should be able to not just use it, but understand how to use it safely and get value out of it. Digital innovation and entrepreneurship. So this is for the young people here that we have, the students that we have, is a startup. the startup ecosystem that we speak about. And then, of course, digital services development and promotion, and cybersecurity and digital trust. Our technology all day, every day, but if we're not understanding how we're using it ethically and how we're ensuring that security is built in whatever we're creating, whether it's a platform, a policy, or a principle, or an adoption plan, or whatever within whatever context, whether it's academia, corporate, or globally, nationally, we need to look at the security trust part of it. And then, of course, commitment to knowledge-driven, inclusive digital economy. So these are the key visions that the Nigerian economy is being focused on. So let's move on to AI. I was really glad to hear from the welcome address of the VC, or a goodwill message. I'm not sure, one of the two, because I'm virtual. You hear the voices, but you don't see who was speaking. But someone mentioned that for many years, these topics have been spoken in the past three versions of these conference, and they are looking forward to seeing how AI can be now used for. So AI matters. It's excellent that this topic keeps occurring, and it will occur for many, many years to come. Why is it important? Because it has the ability to boost productivity and economic competitiveness. There's no doubt about that. It enhances service delivery across sector. Somebody is making noise, like singing. It supports agriculture and many other sectors. So even the educational sector that we're speaking about right now, the context in which we are having this conference, AI has the propensity to address many of the challenges that exist within education, whether it's inclusion. We want to make sure that people with certain disability are included. It takes care of even learning abilities. People have different learning abilities, and because of that, and the way we, for example, record and score people based on their capabilities, we tend to miss out some of those things because it's not the way we learn. Some people are visually learners, some are audio learners, some are a mixture of both, and so many others. So AI has the ability to identify your learning ability and then customize the learning, being focused on who you are, what you are, and how you're going to be able to get your best. So just look at that. This is like magic that we're looking at. So AI fosters job creation in new digital fields. It enables transparent data-driven governance. What do we mean by that? A lot of times governments sit down and comes up with policies, comes up with frameworks and ideas of it without really understanding if that's actually what the citizen wants or identifying what the problem is. But now AI gives us the opportunity. It gives us the opportunity to really collect data, clean the data, analyze the data, and then understand, identify patterns, what's happening in the sector of which the data is being collected, and helps us to do data-driven governance so that we're now building initiatives, incentives for people that would actually make a huge difference. So some government initiatives that exist in Nigeria that are driving AI adoption, for example, the Center for AI Center for AI and Robotics. It's a center specifically designed with high-level infrastructure and equipment that has partnerships with a number of academic platforms and gives students and startups access to these facilities so that they can prototype their ideas before they go to the market. And it also enables them to have sandboxes and a lot of those. We have a national AI strategy, which is still in development. It's going through a lot of process to ensure that the voice of the different stakeholders is being heard, and it's inclusive. So we have the government has been giving out a lot of AI research funding, and also to fund the research and also pilot use cases. A number of them have gone up. So if you're not following the NIDA or ministries handle on social media, please do that and go to the websites regularly to look for these opportunities. And then, of course, AI draft, policy draft. Apart from the strategy, the current administration is really also working on a policy draft, which is focusing on ethical AI. Ethical AI, for me, being an expert in AI, I think that's the most important topic where I'm concerned. Yes, AI is here. Yes, it has a lot of advantages, but we need to be sure that we do not forget ethics. We do not take it to the point where we cannot control it, or it's doing things that is not ethical. It's responsible data use as well, local innovation acceleration, and then inclusion of women and youth in AI fields. So this is what the AI policy is focusing on. Moving on, in alignment to our topic, AI holds, that's the AI for sustainable development. AI holds immense promise for accelerating the SDGs, especially in economics like ours, emerging economics, where innovation can leapfrog the traditional way of how we do things. Because when we deploy this AI responsibly, it becomes a powerful enabler of goals, also helps us in driving economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental protection. There are many areas that cut across where AI would have is having a lot of impact. For example, in agriculture, precision farming, health prediction. So AI is like like your third eye. It doesn't exist. It's in the future. It helps you to prove, right? In healthcare, we have early diagnosis. So before you are even having maybe a life-threatening disease, the signs can be identified and treated before it gets to a point where there would be no treatment. We have telemedicine intelligence. I have benefited for that, especially at the time when, for example, Dubai stopped giving Nigerians visa, and for years we couldn't have access for a family member. We leveraged a lot of medical telemedicine, and it made a huge difference, and it helped us to continue getting the kind of care we needed without necessarily being physically there. Education, I've spoken about that, personalized learning and all that. Environment, climate modeling, disaster management. Alhamdulillah, because Nigeria doesn't have a lot of those kind of climate and disaster that we have in other parts of the world, such as earthquakes and all those tsunamis, floods and all that, not at that level. But AI, once you're able to collect data and have algorithms that can help you analyze this data, you can predict some of these things and find ways to address them before they happen. And of course, smart cities, talking about things from waste management, traffic optimization, and a lot of that. Okay, let's look at 4 enabling components for create the platforms they are creating to help them to identify some of these fraudulent activity and lots of those. So EdTech tools using natural language processing for learning. One of them is the one I just got the from there's a Nigerian startup that is working that has been on EdTech for a while, and now there's so many of them doing EdTech tools. I know one is creating blue sapphire keeps coming to my head, but that's not the startup I want to speak about. There's a startup here in Abuja, in Kano, and so many other places that have been creating platforms for education and for results collection and for managing the learning. So we are now leveraging on AI to see how academic content will be put into the AI, and then it will be generating content based on your type of learning and what you want to achieve at the end of your learning. So we have agri-tech solutions as well for crop prediction and farm optimization. There has been that for a while. I remember in 2018, there was a startup we took to Dubai. There was building drones. Currently, he's relocated to the United Kingdom to build his prototype better. He still has an affiliation with the country, and yes, he would. Some people might want me and say, see, Japan is not necessarily a bad thing, because a lot of the revenue comes back to the country as well. Excuse me. So we have health tech leveraging AI for diagnosis. We're already witnessing those within the country. We're having the creative sector also using AI tools. We also have a number of hundreds of tech hubs spread across all Nigeria. We've seen that move within the past 8 you meet people all over speaking about a startup they are creating or creating hubs where people come together and they speak about these enabling platforms. Grants are everywhere, accelerators are everywhere, fellowship programs are everywhere, and support these ecosystems to grow. If you're on social media or if you're following the website of the right people or even listening to the news, you will see that many of these global platforms now have offices in Nigeria. To the level of what they want, and we also leverage on the outcomes of what we have. And of course, we cannot speak about the thriving Nigerian AI startup ecosystem without speaking about the Startup Act. Innovators now can leverage on the Startup Act to have a lot of benefits and incentives that encourage just people to go into entrepreneurship and become job creators and not just. And the startup implementation is one of the app implementation is one part that is really helping the Nigerian AI startup ecosystem to thrive. And it is with innovation that emerging platforms or emerging economies grow their digital economy. So data protection. Nigeria has a national Nigerian Data Protection Act, which was developed in 2023 in alignment to global practices. There's one of the EU, there's one of the UK, and there's so many other countries that have developed that because it's important. It strengthens trust and safeguards digital rights. It creates a legal framework for personal data. It's mandatory compliance for public and private regulations. They make organizations, they make sure that public and private organizations comply. As a result of the act, we now have a commission that manages that responsibility. to make sure that, data sets are secure, responsible models are being trained, and build user trust in AI-driven services. It's a key component of any economy that is, any digital economy, so that you make sure that you're not just leveraging on this technology, you're not just digitizing and digitalizing platforms without ensuring there is trust and ethical use. Cybersecurity quickly. So AI introduces new vulnerabilities, like we know. The more you use it on the internet, the more access to threats there would be. So Nigeria's national cybersecurity policy helps to mitigate risks. Areas of focus in the Nigerian cybersecurity policy are AI model security, protection of our critical digital infrastructure. It's a document that was updated within the past 2 years. Incident reports and digital forensics, capacity building in ethical hacking and cyber defense. So it's important to speak to these things, these components, for us to understand what Nigeria is doing with data also being a key player within the sectors. And then finally, in this approach, finally, the fourth component that I'll speak about today is the academic academia. When we're speaking about building the talent, so universities, when we're speaking about talent and we're saying Nigeria, or we're speaking about the Nigerian population, our population would not make any difference to us if we do not have the right skills. And the right skills is not just a certificate of first class, second class, or any of those. No. The right skill is being able to know the skills that are in need, being able to have people skills, being able to implement them to solve a problem. So it's about knowing the skills that are important, going for those skills that are important, building those skills, and being able to implement those skills to solve real world problems and challenges. And that's where it will make sense and people will be willing to adopt into it. So university is the platform that builds talent. AI also needs this talent. Research hubs, advancing NLP, climate modeling, and health AI. So we have a number of universities that are building AI talent, and ABA is one of them. I've also been part of the National Open University MSc and PhD curriculum design for masters in AI, cybersecurity, and MIS. And I know ABU academics were also part of it. The team within ABU were also part of it. So these are things that are really critical, and we are already building on those things, but we need to strengthen them to be able to really harness AI properly. And then finally, partnerships strengthens innovation. So when we are speaking about government is one arm. The key components that need to work together to ensure that we have the right ecosystem to build digital economies. For example, we need the startups and the innovators, we need academia, we need government, we need corporate, and then we need the money. We need people that are ready to give funding to innovators to build the platforms that will be used by corporates to be able to address existing challenges. So these four components are very key. So moving to I have 2 or 3 more slides, and I think I'm doing well in terms of time. So moving to the roadmap for emerging economies to harness AI, not just AI, but responsible AI. So here are 6 components that we have defined at NIDA, looking at the best practices, doing a lot of research, working with key stakeholders to identify the best way to go about it. So firstly is to build. You need to build strong foundations. And everything we're able to put together and the things that I discussed at the beginning of my presentation to create the foundation of why they're important and what we're doing as a country, and build, which is building strong foundation, the building blocks that you need to be able to develop, foster, project, drive, and enable AI. And then, of course, you need to develop talent and skill, ensuring, we have a lot of frameworks around that. For example, the National Digital Literacy Framework is one of them, where it offers how we can integrate AI into academic curriculum, which have already started seeing the information across all levels and so many of those, ensuring that the workforce are free of skill and all that. So foster inclusive and responsible innovation. Media constantly and continuously, for those that know, support technology innovation startups. And that's how the Startup Act came. The Nigerian Startup Act came is as a result of efforts put in by media to support the ecosystem. Fourthly, protect digital sovereignty. So promote secure national data infrastructure and local data storage. So when we're speaking about technology, especially AI, like I mentioned, you can't think about that without speaking about the data itself and then security. So when we're collecting this data, we need to ensure that it's secure. So we need to protect our digital sovereignty. Drive public-private academic collaboration. We can never speak about harnessing AI or any technology for digital economy, whether it's for an emerging economy or whatever kind of economy, without the collaboration between public, private, and academia. Academia is a strong force to reckon with, and of course, enable sustainable and ethical deployment. So when we're building this, it's quick, it's easy, it's interactive for us to go out and build these platform services, solve all problems. But one thing somebody needs to hold us accountable for is to make sure that we're doing it properly, ethically. This roadmap, so it's leveraging on the roadmap of the previous roadmap that we have seen. We're constantly working to strengthen our academia industry partnership. We facilitate responsible AI development. We invest in local talent and research. We foster, so this is basically a summary of the presentation as NID's roadmap for AI. Investment in local talent and research. We foster inclusion. We make sure that underserved and unserved are being included, whether it's women, youth, rural communities, or those that have one level of ability or the other. We prioritize data governance and cybersecurity, and we are working to position Nigeria as a leader in digital innovation in Africa and globally. So I will say thank you. Thank you so much for listening. And I'll leave you with a quote by DG, a quote where he says a lot because he really believes in the Nigerian youth and in the Nigerian possibility and talent. So the quote is, AI is not just a tool for development, it is a doorway to possibility. For emerging economies, our greatest advantage is not what we lack, but the limited potential of our people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, the Director General NISDA, Malam Inua Kashifa Abdullahi, who is, or rather was ably represented by Dr. Amina Sambu. And distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the paper has been presented, and I believe there are a lot of equal messages on that paper. But normally, whenever there are presentations like that, we were supposed to take questions, but due to time constraint, I think we will not be able to do that. And looking at the tight schedules of the Vice Chancellor and then other members of the high table, we will take the group photograph now. And after that, we'll excuse the Vice Chancellor to attend to other university engagement, and then we continue with the presentation. Thank you, sir.
Does anybody have any idea of what people should do?
Yeah, I'm trying to reach them on phone to see if I can get them back on track.
In fact, I can't even see the. I was seeing the hall now.
Yeah, but the person managing the person managing the team is there. Where they sign their own names.
Can you see? Can any of you see the hall?
I'm going to shoot online, but I'm not
Can you see it? Can you see the hall?
we don't see anybody. I'm shooting.
And that should be so. Actually, I was trying to railroad where someone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amina. And I think that will be all for now. If there is any question, it will be sent to you via email. Thank you so much, ma'am. The prof is talking about gender balance. Prof is the only female here, so other females, please can come and give Prof moral support. Some gender support from the women.
What would you like to do from the street? Exercise many else.
I think they're taking a photograph. I don't know what's really happening. Maybe there's a kind of
They should also give us from the street. To open a way.
yeah, I think that's what the nation.
So, okay. Okay. So she can. Madam, okay, I think she's still there. So can you go last maybe this session is over and you want to take another round?
Daud?
Thank you very much, Dr. Amina. And you have already been captured on the photograph. And I thank you for your presentation. The session is over. We will move on to the next presentation. Like I said earlier, if there is any question, the organizers, the members of the local organizing committee will forward it to your mail for your responses. Thank you so much, ma'am. Would have loved to call for questions, physical questions from participants, but due to time constraint, we won't be able to do that. So forge ahead for now. If there is any question, like I said, you will forward it to your mail for your responses. Thank you so much for your presentation, ma'am. And now, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed, may I also acknowledge the presence of Professor G.U. Garba of the Department of Mathematics. You're welcome, sir. And then, of course, we have Dr. Mrs. M.I. Yakubu. You are welcome, ma'am. Also of the Department of Mathematics. You're welcome, ma'am. Our next presentation is also going to be virtual. And the presenter is all the way from the University of Malaya, Malaysia, Professor Tutut Harwan. Is Prof ready, please? Is Prof with us? Wa alaikum assalam. Prof, before you proceed, please, there's going to be a citation. And to take that, okay, before you proceed, please, I have been told that your citation will be taken before you proceed, sir. And to do that, may I invite Dr. Baggio, please? So Dr. Baggio, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Permit me to stand on existing protocol. I present to you Professor Tutut Herawan from University of Malaya, Malaysia. Tutut Herawan is an associate professor at the Department of Information Systems, Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology, University of Malaya, Malaysia. He was named in the top 2% world scientists, ranking by Stanford University and Elsevier. Since 2020 to present, he received a PhD degree in information technology from University Tun Hussein on Malaysia in 2010. He has more than 20 years experiences as academic staff and has supervised many master's and PhD students. He is the editor, advisory board of ISM Springer Nature, and managing editor of Malaysian Journal of Computer Science, which is an ISI Web of Science and Scopus Index. He is also an associate editor of many international journals of Scopus and Web of Science indexes. He has edited many books and published more than 350 articles in various book chapters, international journals, and conference proceedings. He is an active reviewer for many reputable international journals. He delivered more than 50 keynote addresses, invited workshops, and has been actively served as a chair, co-chair, program committee member, and co-organizer of numerous international conferences and workshops. His area of research includes data science and big data, data engineering and information systems, soft computing and data mining, and information technology for tourism, Before you is Professor Tutut Herwan, and I'm happy to see a colleague, a teacher, a mentor, and a friend from University of Malaya, which I also graduated from. Thank you very much. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Chairman Dr. Daud Zaini, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good evening in Malaysia, today in Nigeria. Afternoon now, because the time difference in Zaria, Nigeria is 7 hours behind Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. First of all, thank you for the Dr. Muhammad Ahmadu, the chairman of the third edition of ICCAIT 2025, and all the various committee, technical committee and technical committee of the conference, for inviting me to share my knowledge on this conference. And I would like to express my big thanks also to my colleagues, Assistant Professor Ahmadu from Bombay, Nigeria. And also I wish the conference success from the opening day until the end, which is scheduled end by the 20th of September 2025. Please allow me to present my slide. Okay. Okay, can everyone see my presentation slide? Yes.
Okay, I will make my presentation slide in the full mode and make sure that the slide is moving from page 1 to page 2. Can you see that the slide is moving?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Title of my presentation today is the soft computing approach for conflict analysis. My name is Tutut Herwan from Department of IS, Faculty of Computer Science and IT, University of Malaya. So, the outline of my presentation today, number one, to give the mukaddimah or introductions on the conflict analysis from the perspective, point of view of subset approach. And point 2, to define the concept of co-occurrence parameter in a conflict situation based on the subset theory. And number 3, to illustrate by means learning from the tutorial example of voting in a live conflict situation. Point number 4, is in a real world problem how subset theory can be used to handle a conflict situations. Point number 5, to discuss the effectiveness of the proposed approach. And finally, I have the takeaway message and highlight the future research direction on the related topics. What is actually conflict? As we can see in the picture given here, conflicting between the two persons here. First, assume this number is 6. Due to the difference of the place, and then another person assume this number is 9. And conflict analysis has been used as an important tool not only in computer science and IT, but also in economic, business, governmental, political dispute games, management negotiation, military operation, education, recommender system, and many more. Continue to the next page. When the conflicts appear in the real situation, uncertainty or weakness is often occur on that situation. So in general, the conflict situation, there are 3 types of uncertainty here. Number 1 is a bias, is correlation or favorable. Number 2 is neutrality, and is a gain loss. If we refer to the past literature, many approaches, theories, models, algorithms, methods exist to handle conflict situation involving uncertainty and weakness, including a soft computing approach based on set theories. The most popular one is, as I said, I will introduce you, inshallah, concept of subset theories, which is considered to be the new approach in computing. In here, the main question is emerged and on how to model uncertainty in complex situation based on the theory in soft computing. I'd like to recall a little bit about the soft computing. It is an umbrella actually. An umbrella term used to describe types of algorithms that produce approximate solution, because we sometimes, like we study in mathematics, we cannot answer the problem in the quick solution. So we need to approximate. We have the numerical methods in the computer science and IT. If uncertainty is there, weakness is there, no solution, we can approximate the solution. One of the popular methods is the soft computing. Typically, traditional hard computing algorithm, which is a fixed mathematics, true, false, 0 and 1, heavily rely on concrete data and mathematical models to produce solutions to the problems. Fixed mathematics. Soft computing was coined in the late 20th century by the late of professor from University of California, Los Angeles, Professor Zaria. Proposed the idea of fuzzy set in 1965. In mathematics, fuzzy sets are sets whose elements have degrees of membership, unlike the traditional mathematics that we have learned from the elementary to the high school. Element belong to a set, an element not belong to a set. True, false, 0, 1. So in the fuzzy, element can be given here on the degrees of membership. Introduced by Zaria in 1965 and the extent of the physical notion of set, of fit set. Fuzzy logic is described as methods that are composed of cognitive human principles. Predict statement in precise data, fuzzy logic system, and finally go to the decision. The principle that guides classical logic is the preposition of true and false. Classical logic, like the logic which has been applied in our computer system, true, false, enter or not. Then the variable can be only either true or false, but never true or false, both simultaneously. In fuzzy logic, imprecise data and vague statements are accepted as input and a decision is here. After the fuzzy in 1981, Professor Pollack from the Institute of Mathematics, Warsaw University in Poland, proposed the concept of subset theory, another approach of the fuzzy set. Subset theory can be depicted. You can see my presentation here is the concept of the approximation of the rough set. The concept is quite simple. Pollack used the traditional topological approach in mathematics to answer uncertainty and vagueness of membership of elements which belong to set. So in here, the granulation is the block. There are many blocks which all build the universe group. The set here is given inside this non-linear red line here, the rough set. So of course, from the point of view of granulation, the building blocks here, the set cannot be defined precisely, meaning that we need to approximate the set by lower approximation, the group block color, and the upper approximation, which is the union of the lower approximation, and the rest building blocks, the color here with the yellow color. So the boundary is the upper approximation minus the lower approximation. If the boundary set is null or empty set, meaning that the rough set theory will go to the traditional classical set. So we do not need any more upper and lower approximation. The idea here to describe the rough set theory from the inconsistencies that in rough set theory objects with the same description are indiscernible, meaning they're not precise, and create a block. There are 8 students, and all of them are related with the mathematics, physics, and literature with the decision attributes overall class. Okay? Student 1, good, medium, bad with the decision. So the overall class here acts as the set of the student belong to bed S1, S7. Student belong to medium, S2, student belong to the class of S4, S5, S6 cannot be precisely defined by using classical theory. We need to approximate. The reason that theory is an approach to the soft computing methods, we call it the subset theory, proposed by Professor Dmitry Molotov from the Russian Academy of Science in 1997 is quite new. Subset theory, many subset define the theory as a generalization of fuzzy and rough set theories to deal with uncertainty in a non-parametric manner. So a subset theory is a parameterized family of sets invisibly. It says a soft because the boundary of the set depends on the parameter. So how to describe the subset? We have the binary table here to describe the house. There are 10 houses with their characteristics. Beautiful, wooden, in green soil, in good repair. So this set of house can be defined as a subset. Formally, the relation of fuzzy rough set is begin here. Subset wider than fuzzy and rough. Intersection with fuzzy and rough is stripped. Intersection with fuzzy, rough, and soft is here. Mathematically, subset theory is defined as being defined as a tuple. So a pair of F and A of open and closed bracket offer the universe U, where F is a mapping given by F with the domain A and range included in the set of the power set of U. So in other words, the subset of U is a parameterized family of subset of the universe because belong to the set of universe. Belong to the power set of the universe. For epsilon belong to A, and A may be considered as the set of the approximate elements of the subset Fa. In here, go to the previous example on the 10 housing. So U is set of all universe here, house number 1 to number 10. E is the attribute or parameter in the subset, beautiful, wooden, in the green surrounding, expensive, and in the good repair. So a subset in describing the condition of the 10 house is given as follows. So in the open and close bracket F with the E is the parameter beautiful with the member H1, H3, 4, 7, and 10 for the house wooden condition, house number 1, 2, 3, 6, and 8, and so forth. This is the subset. And in year 2014, I introduced the concept of multi-subset. The subset theory deals with the Boolean value information system or 0-1 data and how to deal with non-Boolean value data. I introduced the concept of multi-subset. And the next question is that how to model non-Boolean value information systems using the traditional or standard subset model. Okay, now a non-Boolean value information system can be represented in subset, And the idea of multi-subset I introduced in 2009 and I published the paper in 2014. The idea comes from the fact that we can decompose categorical value information system into the cardinal of A, meaning A number of the Boolean value information system. So let's say we have the A is the E parameter, the number of the attribute is 5. So we will have 5 Boolean value information system. And how to preserve the original message in the data when we get the non-Boolean value information system to the concept of mapping communication among the Boolean value information. The decompositions in here formally can be given by a map. It is a truncated function. The value is 0. The value of 1 if there is a value there, and otherwise 0 for every u belong to the universe. So from this function that I have defined, we can have a Boolean value information system as a quadruple. And as their member universe, the attribute I belongs to A capital. The value in here either 0 to 1 because we want to decompose from non-Boolean value into a Boolean value. And the function f. We have the quadruple. And then the information system here refers to as a decomposition. Okay, so now we have the quadruple U, A, B, F. A here we assume multi-value. Decomposition of this non-multi-value information system will be S1, S2 to S8. So S1 is standard subset 1, S2 is standard subset 2, and S is standard subset 8. Further, we define FA as a multi-subset for universe. Okay. Now, we will see how the subset theory is used to solve the conflict situation that given a database or information system as a pair of S in the bracket U and A. U is the universe, A is the attribute. Of course, U and A should be non-empty and finite sets. Element of U is called objects. In its context of the conflict situation, we call it agents, and A is set of attribute. In here, we call it. So every attribute A belongs to A capital is a total function. Must be a total function, meaning the value must be there. No missing value. We call it a total function. Where A is the set of value of A, so called the domain. And element of VA refers to as opinion in the conflict situation, and AX is opinion of the agent because X is belong to universe. The domain of each attribute is restricted to three values, VA, positive, 1 or positive, 0 and negative 1, representing respectively. 1 means lion, 0 means neutral, and negative 1 means conflict. Okay, conflict graphs, lion, neutrality, and conflict. As we can see here, the illustration. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 agents. As we can see, agent 1, 3, 4, and 5 lions. Agent 2 conflicting, and none of them neutral. We can draw the conflict here. So we have 1 F neutral, the rest neutral, the rest conflicting, and alliance. On a conflict situation, we can say that it is a special type of multi-subset. Why? Because the value of A is restricted to three values, positive, 1, 0, and negative 1. Meaning, alliance, coalitions, neutral, and we can model this kind of information system or data into a multi-subset as follows. Okay, so AI in here from 1 to 3, where the value of A is positive 1, 0, and negative 1. Therefore, formally, the conflict table or conflict situation which can be represented into a table formalized like this. Okay, next, on the second outline of my presentation is the parameter co-occurrence. From the fact that standard subset can be represented as a Boolean value information system, in here the notation of occurrence of parameter in subset theory is given in the definition 1. So a parameter co-occurrence set of an object U can be defined as follows. So co-occurrence here, it belongs to the attribute, okay, or belong to the issue, and U here is the agent, where the value of U and E must be 1. Obviously, the co-occurrence is all of the issue which is occur because the function here is total function, no missing value. Number 2, how to define a subset of a conflict in the subset. In the definition 2, let given FEF be a subset of the universe U and an agent U belong to U capital. The subset of an agent U is defined by subset in the cardinality of the co-occurrent U, like as the cardinality of all elements belong to U, where the occurrence equals 1. Strength of the conflict. Let's say we have a few issues here. A1 and A2 belong a subset of A, denoted by the strength sigma X of A1 and A2 is defined by subset A1, A2 by the cardinal divided over the cardinality of U. This is the strength. Certainty of the conflict of a rule A1 and A2 where A1, A2 subset of A, denoted by certainty is defined by certainty of A1, A2 equals to support A1, A2 divided by A1. The coverage of a rule A1 to A2 for A1, A2 subset of A denoted by coverage is defined by support X A1, A2 divided by A2. So we can see the difference here. For the certainty, the denominator is the cardinality of 1. Meanwhile, for the coverage, denominator is the cardinality of 2. So now we can see the next point on the outline of my presentation, application on the real world problem. Real world application of the proposed approach to solve the conflict situation on determining the governor election model. I took the case study from my country. I asked at that time, conflicting among the members of the parliament whether they want to conduct the election in direct or indirect methods. The data sets of the conflict situation is taken from the Liputan state and given use, and there are 560 members of parliament. All of them belong to 9 parties in the Indonesian parliament. You can see here. Okay, the party logo and the description. In total, we have 503. The political conflicts, we can model the situation of conflict into the subset. So member 1 to member 148 belong to Party Demokrat, the first party. The next member of the parliament 149 to 154 belong to second party, and the last party 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 544 members to 560 belong to the last party, which is Hanura. The mapping function given in here, the Democrat Party 0 and negative 1, second party 1, 0 and negative 1, and so forth. So we can model the conflict situation into the subset. In here, we can see the first party 1 to 0, and 0, 0 to negative 1, negative 1 also the second party to the last party is Hanura Party from 544, here 544 to 560, negative 1, and 0 the value here. And after we have this table of the conflict situation, we can transfer or decomposite the non-Boolean value information system to Boolean value information system in order to transfer this conflict table to the multi-subset. So the composition of table 10 in here, we can get into multi-table. Okay, and after the composition, we define the multi-subset representing the table. Compute the support based on the given definition 2 previously. So the support from the fact number 1, Democrat voting 0 is 142. For the Democrat voting negative 1, conflicting is 6. So in total 148 for Democrat. Yes, we can see here 148. So neutral 142 and conflicting 6. The last party neutral 7, conflicting 10. The strength, certainty, and coverage given this table I will skip, and we can see here the conflict graph. Democrat now negative 1 with other party from the second party with the third party and seventh party in the last. Okay, as we can see here, the conflicting graph, 1 meaning the alliance, 0 neutral, and negative 1 conflicting. The conflict graph. Okay, on Only party Demokrat here neutral with 142, not related to others, this one. Okay, Golkar in the second party with Hanura Alliance. But Hanura also conflicting with EDIP. We compare also the performance of our offset approach in handling conflict situation with the Russia theory, because in the earlier of my presentation I mentioned that Russia theory and others of conflict method has been used to handle conflict. You can see that the R here, the blue color represents the RS0 and the brown color here representing subset theory. Even though the improvement is a little bit, is still executing to compute the support, the strength, uncertainty, and the coverage. All these only a little bit. Strength is significant in computing certainty and coverage for the subset theory comparing to the Russet theory. Okay, the application for the movie recommendation, this work is done by a PhD student at the Faculty of Computer Science and IT University of Malaya. His name is Khalid Haruna from Bombay, Nigeria, on the movie recommendation systems, conflict situation on movie lens data sets. There are many movies here, then opinion and respective support, total 136. We model into the multi-subset and compute the support, strength, certainty, and coverage. And as you can see here, the conflict graph on French movie. You can see the French movie here. Conflict which movie conflicting to each other, and of course finally we can recommend which movie with less of the conflict, high strength, coverage, and certainty. The approximate graph for the movie conflict situation is given below. Okay, like golden eyes, neutral. Forum in here is conflicting, meanwhile gets healthy to relation to each other. The performance again we improve, similar to the previous on the political conflict situations, comparing to the Russia theory. And as the conclusion, I have a takeaway message and future research directions. Social theory is a new mathematical approach in soft computing which potentially offer wider application. Why wider application? Because from the fact the relation that the subset is more general comparing. Even if you hybrid fuzzy, rough fuzzy, subset is bigger comparing to the hybridization model. And then recently many researchers hybrid the fuzzy soft fuzzy, rough soft rough for possible wider application of the hybridizations. And yeah, I mentioned hybridization with the previous set theory approach, so fuzzy, soft, fuzzy, rough, soft, rough. The proposed method here, multi-subset, is potentially be further explored in handling conflict situation, especially in military, event and security, urban planning, social conflicts, education in the business field. Another line of research can be to propose a multi-criteria decision-making methods and multi-dimensional information system, especially in business sector, will be a new challenge in modeling multi-source. This is the end of presentation. If you have any questions, please can direct us to me or can write an email and send to my email address tutu@um.edu.my. So thank you very much. I return back the session. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you very much, sir. And I think due to time constraints, I will not be able to entertain any questions based on that presentation. So we'll just proceed to the next presentation. But if there are any questions, the organizers will harmonize everything and forward it to your mail, sir, for immediate response. Thank you. Please, can we once again put our hands together for Dr. Heron? Our next presenter is Dr. Sadiq Sani online. Is Dr. Sadiq Sani online? Okay, I think the dean, sir, Dr. Sadiq is not online, so confirm, please. Dr. Sadiq, are you with us, please? Okay, thank you. I think in that case, I will proceed to the next presentation by Dr. Aisha Abdelkader. And the title of the presentation is Smart Agriculture, Leveraging Artificial Intelligence for Sustainable Food Systems in Emerging Economies. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Professor Aisha Abdelkader of the Department of Soil Science here in Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Thank you very much, ma'am.
I would like to stand on the existing protocol that has already been established, and I'm going to speak today on the title Smart Agriculture. I think I sent the slides.
I put a slide.
I think I sent to the LOC. Or if there's no result, I can connect. I sent it to
I sent it to Mohammed. Before Prof proceed, may I also once again invite Professor Bagiwa for the citation of Professor Aisha Abdelkader.
Okay, thank you. Professor Aisha Abdulkader obtained both B. Agric and MS Soil Science degrees from the Department of Soil Science, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Nigeria, in years 2000 and 2006 respectively. She obtained her PhD from Wageningen University, the Netherlands, where she worked with late Professor Herman van Keulen, soil physicist, and on modeling nutrient flows and balances in agro-ecosystem with MONQI model in Plant Production Systems Group. She is currently employed by Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, in the Department of Soil Science since the year 2002, with specialization in soil physics, where she is involved in teaching and supervision of both undergraduate and postgraduate students. She worked with several committees in the university community and beyond. She received an individual research grant from International Foundation for Soil, Foundation for Science, IFS, in 2013, and African Fulbright Research Scholarship as a senior visiting scientist at the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, USA in 2017, where she worked on greenhouse gas emission from soils under different water and nutrient management at the Agronomy and Horticulture Department. She has been involved in farming systems research with 4 western states of Nigeria, and as a research team member in a World Bank-sponsored SRI trimming on systems of rice intensification. She has worked on several extension-based projects in partnership with NILS and several other international organizations such as ECOWAS, IFPRI, AGRA-CBA Project, World Bank, Wageningen University and Research, Global SRI Network, ICCAIT25, South-South-North, Global Methane Hub, among others. She is a farming systems expert on research and extension on sustainable crop production, use of crop and water models in hydrological research, soil and water conservation practices, as well as climate-smart agricultural practices geared towards its pillars to reduce greenhouse gas emission, sustainable production, adaptation, and mitigation strategies. She has also served as a resource person in notable projects on extension and sustainable farming system. Dear participants, I present to you Professor Aisha Abdulkader.
Yes, thank you very much. Earlier, I want to stand on the existing protocol, and my topic is going to be on smart agriculture, which is leveraging AI in for sustainable food systems in emerging economies. So here, the presentation outline is going to be introduction to areas of agriculture that can be or that are leveraging on the use of AI. We have heard the keynote, the first speaker that talked generally on the integration of AI in the emerging economies. And one of the key sectors there is agriculture. So I'm going to talk about the current trends and defining what smart agriculture is, and areas of emerging economies that integrate AI and that are impacting agriculture, and some of the challenges that we face, as well as case studies and conclusion. So agriculture here remains a very significant part of the national economy in Nigeria. There has been reports that in the first quarter of 2025, the GDP rose up to 27.8%, according to the business need. So here, we see that most of the contribution to this GDP is by smallholder farmers. Smallholder farmers contribute 70% of what we consume in Nigeria, what is being produced. So this is the current state. And then within this context, crop production remains the largest subsector of the Nigerian agricultural economy. And the staple foods maize, millet, rice, sorghum, and yam are especially important in this sector. And according to the National Bureau of Statistics, which based their analysis on crop production, they said that the crop production contributes a very large fraction of the total agricultural output of Nigeria. So we can see how very important this is. Some of the challenges we face. This crop production, I told you, is mainly handled or is mainly driven by smallholder farmers. And these smallholder farmers practice this in the conventional way, where there are some debilitating factors that are surrounding these practices. And one of them is insecurity. There's also the infrastructural deficits or deficiencies, such as good roads. And when we are talking about good roads, they're not good roads that we are seeing here, maybe let's say in around the urban spaces, but rather good roads connection from rural areas, because a lot of these farmers are resident in the rural areas. And then there are also challenges with storage facilities. We will see that farmers, for them to store their produce, they need a lot of investment in warehouses. And for those smallholder farmers that don't have warehouses, they immediately store them in their local storage. And these are also challenged by infestation of pests and diseases. And then there's also lack of cold stores for those perishable products that are being produced by farmers. So these are all some of these challenges. Then there are also challenges of post-harvest losses. These are happening since from the time of the harvesting of the products right to where it needs to go to, such as the market or the consumer's table. There are lots of losses along that chain. And because the smallholder farmers are still losing their conventional methods of producing, you see that production is still using low mechanization methods or technologies. They are not using mechanization to their productivity because they are already smallholders. They invest little into their production. You only see more of mechanized farming when there is a very large farm or there is a lot of investment in that system. There's also low adoption of improved technologies. You know, we are still battling as a research institution when we are trying to see that you bring innovations or technologies that farmers are supposed to adopt in terms of crop varieties, in terms of improved methods of production. There are still some kind of low adoption because of some ethical or some social reasons that are surrounding that. So then we also have another debilitating factor, which is climate that hampers productivity. We have climate change, and then there are some certain occurrences. There are some certain peaks or depressions of rainfall, for example. What we see this year for all our farmers, we know that there are lots of losses that were incurred because the rains didn't reach the end for some of the crops to adapt to or to survive. So these are some of these challenges. So let's look at the definition of climate smart. So looking at all these challenges, we know there are supposed to be areas of improvement, and one of these areas of improvement is going smart. And when I say smart, not only AI that we are talking about, but there are also some certain smart principles that we try to advocate for farmers to adopt to increase their productivity. So when we say smart agriculture here, we refer to the integration of digital sensors, such as Internet of Things, such as drones, robotics, satellite imageries, cloud computing, and AI in general into farming operations to optimize productivity and maximize resource utilization, reduce waste, and enhance sustainability. When we say this, you know that not only to use AI, of course AI is a tool, but at the same time, we try to see that farmers are engaged or advised to maximize their resource utilization to have maximum productivity and reduce the waste of their inputs that they use into their production. So the role of AI actually enables analytics of real-time decision making through automation and adaptive learning, and it transforms raw data such as soil moisture, weather information, pests and diseases patterns into actionable insights. So these are some of the things that we see AI doing in our in smart agriculture. So looking at the way forward or other things, other aspects of smart agriculture that the use of AI does is smart disease detection. Go to the next slide. Is it smart disease detection? We can see that there are different AI tools that can be used to detect diseases. There are also smart ways of doing weed management. Here, we use there's use of robots or automated mechanized robots that will go into these farms, use imagery or whatever the program tells to identify or differentiate between the crop that is important and the crop growth or outcrop that is not important. And then this robot goes out to pull out these weeds. Of course, these have been going on for some time now in the developed nations. We also have monitoring of the soil health, where the entire soil moisture, soil nutrients are all monitored using sensors. And then there is also yield prediction, where a yield can be predicted. For example, a maize yield can be predicted when certain parameters are taken into consideration. These parameters can be soil parameters, they can be crop parameters, they can be weather-based parameters. All these are integrated into these models to predict the yield of crops. And then in general, for so many farm operations, like I mentioned earlier with the weeding, there are also automations for harvesting, automation for crops that are using, even the planting of crops. There are a lot of automation. Automation in data collection for some experiments when these are used under research conditions. So let us look at emerging economies. Here we see that those systems or those economies that have already progressed are using a lot of AI tools to see that they increase the precision of their activities. That's why we call them precision agriculture. And when we say precision agriculture, we look at precision planting from the very beginning. If you see these pictures, you see as if they have been carved out with ruler or let's say some measurement devices, which means right from the preparation of the land, it is done with good accuracy. And this is done so that it will also enable automation or mechanization, because you cannot expect to have a haphazardous or hazardous placement of crops on your field. At the same time, you expect that a machine can go there. So most of these automation and programming are actually done right from the establishment of crops and up to other levels. So in terms of use of AI in some key areas, we can look at precision farming. Like I mentioned, in precision farming, you can see there is crop monitoring or soil and crop monitoring. Where AI-powered sensors are drones are used to assess different parameters in the field. For example, the soil moisture level, so that they can give an idea of the stress that the plant is going into. And these This information is actually used for sensors to either inform the farmer when to irrigate, or already the sensors have been automated to irrigate if you are using irrigated systems. There are also variable rate technology where AI is used to adjust fertilizer rates, to adjust pesticide rates and water application rates per square meter, thereby enhancing resource use and reducing the wastage. And these are done, like I said, with sensors or with drones. These operations are actually carried out with drones in most developed farms in the world. Then there is also use of predictive models where machine learning are used to predict the harvest of a crop, that particular crop, taking into consideration historical data, at the same time real-time data. And this real-time data integrates that of the weather, the crop, different crop stages. At the same time, it integrates soil data that all iterates and gives, it predicts. So we're looking at pest and disease management. We have also some of this computer vision and deep learning that uses drones and smartphones application to identify pests and diseases early, especially the ones that were tested with cassava mosaic virus and the fall armyworm. And other things for predictive alerts, such as the forecast. The AI is used to forecast risks, outbreaks of these diseases and risks of migration, of especially those pests, or let's say, yes, we call them pests, like birds that will go and ravage a farm, or pests such as worms or insects that can go and cause damage to a farm, and cause diseases and eventually losses to the farmer. So there are some predictions that are being made to understand what is happening. So going to the next one, there is also the supply chain. You know, the you can use demand forecasting, and I think this is also happening even with our regular smartphones, where people their information from the farmers or from the consumers, or those that demand products, are taken into consideration. This information is gathered to predict what is the market demand. It drives the prices. At the same time, it reduces up to 40% of losses that could be incurred due to post-harvest handling. As I mentioned earlier, not all smallholder farmers can be able to handle these post-harvest losses. So as they have a market focus or the demand for a certain product, using this demand forecasting, they can be able to quickly sell their product. There's also logistics and routing. For example, there is a transportation of crop products. There's an AI, or I think I've also experienced that with Google in Abuja, that will tell me that there is traffic in this place. Do you want me to reroute you or something like that? So that they will route you to a place that is having to the route that is having less traffic jam. So the same thing with traffic logistic routing, especially when there is prediction of bad weather or there is a traffic in somewhere. At the same time, with the blockchain integration, where the blockchain technology also integrates the traceability of products, where we call them the traceability from farm to fork, where from whatever activity has been done to that product in terms of production from the farm, or from the farm, even if it is livestock or crop, up to the time it reaches the table, there is this technology that is used to trace them. So other technologies like climate resilience, or using climate smart models to be able to predict these disasters that will happen as in form of droughts or in form of floods, are all aspects that can be used, that AI is being integrated into agriculture. And these things are happening. The Nigerian Meteorological Station is actually giving out these advisories, and they are all using this information from that they are gathering and giving this prediction or forecasting. And in that way, together with our institute, the Institute for Agricultural Research, there has been drives and efforts to see that farmers are advised on what crop varieties they should plant and what is the right time for planting, so that they can plant they can appropriately schedule their planting operations or other farming activities. So these are some of these. Microclimate modeling is also a localized weather prediction that helps farmers to adapt to hyperlocal conditions. And so some of these things can even assist farmers to know when they want to apply fertilizers. We don't advise to apply fertilizers when there's a prediction that there's going to be a very heavy rainfall today. So if a farmer has planned to apply fertilizers today, then he needs to shift it to another day. And this is using of climate advisories to plan farming operations. So I will just quickly go to financial inclusion, where satellite imagery, mobile phone usage, and transaction histories can actually access the credit worthiness of a farmer or smallholder farmer holding system, production system. If it is credit worthy, then this application can be used to be able to advise either farmer is going to get a credit or loan in terms of the financial viability of that farm operation. So insurance products can also be, the AI can be used to detect that so that they can be advised to reduce some losses or payout delays. Automation and robotics have mentioned that they have been used to reduce labor-intensive tasks such as planting, weeding, harvesting, and increases the efficiency of these systems, at the same time reducing drudgery when a particular area is having especially shortages of labor. Enhanced information access can also be AI powered, so that these mobile applications and other digital platforms that are used to bridge the gap of for offering farmers information so that they can increase their efficiency. So there is also aspect of climate smart livestock management. Here in smart livestock management, farmers are the AI monitor farmers animal health. When animal is not moving a lot, because there are devices that are used to trace, to see in real time the animal movement within the farm. They'll be able to see whether the animal is in healthy condition or it predicts disease outbreaks, and also animal tracking and smart fencing. There's also smart fencing where animals cannot be able to cross the boundary of the farm to reach another farm. And also with this livestock or cattle rustling, AI can be used to actually track these cattle if they have been rustled, because they have some kind of sensors or devices, tracking devices in them that can help to farmers to be able to track their animal. Optimize feeding conditions and also improve breeding decisions are all aspects that predictive models can be used to help the productivity of certain livestock production system. So we have all been talking about this AI. The interesting thing is, what are the gains from farmers migrating or integrating AI into their farming systems or into their production system? There was a study that showed that use of AI increases yield by 10 to 30%, while reducing input costs by 15 to 25%. And this was an example of a startup in India, which helped 5 million plus farmers to increase their yield by up to 20%. There are also cost-benefit analysis that have been done using the drones and other AI advisory services that help the farmers to lower their risks or lower their losses. There is also new revenue streams, where data monetization that farmers can be able to leverage on to get some money by giving out data to big agri-techs that can be able to use them in their predictive models or in developing their AI-driven technologies. There is also aspect of carbon credits where farmers can actually leverage or get some credits for adopting to improve or sustainable production system, such as the use of cover crops or use of reduced tillage, which help to offset the carbon in the atmosphere that leads to climate change. Get some credit. There are some startup companies that are able to generate this or monitor the activities of farmers, as well as see how to calculate their carbon credits from their activities. So some challenges, we are not all the time, we are all surrounded by challenges in all we do. So some of the challenges have been highlighted, but I want to just run quickly into them, where there is digital divide and inequality in rural areas that lack internet facilities or electricity, or farmers that lack smartphones, or other lack tools that can be able to use this AI generated information to improve their productivity. Women farmers are also marginalized here because up to around 80 to 60 to 80% of these women farmers are lacking in this access to technology and training. So data sovereignty and privacy. Some of these big companies who owns what between corporates and farmers, and all the risk of monopolization by big agri-tech. These examples I started try to get there, where there is also this risk of data sharing and sovereignty. And then there is also algorithm bias, where sometimes this information are generated from temperate areas and they are now into maybe some advisories for tropical areas. So these are also some of the challenges. And there's also those tools that are not really trained in local languages. There may be a little kind of difficulty for farmers to adopt this kind of technology. So others are dependent on external tech companies, maybe those that are very big, maybe may try to cover up or swallow up the indigenous tech hubs that are existing. There may be regulatory gaps where lack of standards for AI in agriculture is not very clear. So there's less accuracy, transparency, and liability for faulty recommendations may exist. And there's need for national AI strategies tailored to the agrarian context. I think that the NITIDA are trying to develop this national policy for the use of AI, probably in different contexts, so it's generalized one. So there may be the need for the specific one in the agricultural context. Then there's also the skill gap. That one is also something that we already know. For the case of Nigeria, there's this high cost of the hardware. For example, the drones, the sensors, the robotics, they are all expensive and they can deter adoption by small-scale farmers. And maintenance of data is also very costly. Data challenges, also there need for good quality data for making these predictions. And there are also challenges around data privacy, ownership, and sharing, especially when multi-stakeholders are involved, where farmers, corporate organizations, and government are all involved. I think I'm on the next slide, in case of Nigeria. Yeah. So there may be regulatory gaps too, if there are no clear policy in how AI is used in agriculture, especially the use of drones for data collection. And then there's also lack of incentives or unclear government support that can also slow down investment in AI-driven solutions. So here, the next slide, I just have some run through of some case studies where AI has been used in the emerging economies. I have some different examples in India where granite yield was raised by up to 30% in Andhra Pradesh region. And there's also one in Kenya where 1.5 million plus smallholder farmers are having access to that technology, which is an ICCAIT. And there's one in Brazil, and then there's the case of the Brazil is the Embrapa, the agency that uses AI to resilient crops, and there's also the use of drones and satellite to monitor deforestation and illegal land clearing in the Amazon frontiers. In the case of Nigeria, there are things like the Hello Tracker. There are agri-tech companies like Zenos monitor soil health using Internet of Things. There are also others that are populated in Nigeria. Here, there are Green Eden Farms or SCAR Group. This is located in Jos and is an agri-tech company that also combines AI and Internet of Things and smart sensors in their production. Scaregrow is a solar-powered company and has multiple sensors which monitor soil moisture, soil pH, temperature, and the humidity, plus other things, and it integrates AI for the diagnosis of things, of systems and advises farmers. And it also works offline, which is one of the beauty of it. It works offline, and then this data has shown that up to 20% of farmers' production were improved, especially the pepper production under this agri-tech company. There is also another example, which is the Glucose, which is a Nigerian startup that is focused on AI disease detection using computer vision. And then there's reportedly that 85% of this detection is accurate for crops like maize, cassava, tomato, and pepper. There's another farm, Neural Farm, which is an AI-powered agri-tech startup operating in Nigeria, and it also helps smallholder farmers to detect diseases. And the list goes on and on. And some of the integration of this AI in research and academia is one that also shows in 2025 in the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where AI-powered drones are being used for crop health monitoring and yield prediction. There was also the similar one, which was developed by students of this university, a very high-powered team that went to the Huawei competition in China this May 2025, that also won the first position by developing a crop disease monitor. It detects diseases of so many crops, maize, sorghum, cassava, and all have you. And it also integrates some soil information in their prediction. So in conclusion, sorry I took a lot of time. In fact, I tried to see that I reduce some of these contents. So in conclusion, trend-wise, Nigeria's agricultural sector remains critical to the economy, with crop production driving most of its output. There are positive signs, such as the high GDP that we see, but structural problems like insecurity, poor infrastructure, and post-harvest losses limit the full potential of agricultural production. And I've highlighted those at the beginning of this presentation. AI also offers transformative possibilities, from precision farming, disease detection, to yield forecasting, and smarter resources. But these benefits won't be automatic. Adoption requires tackling infrastructure, cost, skills, and data barriers. With targeted investment, supportive policy, and strong capacity building, AI could significantly boost productivity, sustainability, and profitability in Nigeria's agriculture, helping to address food security issues and foster or boost economic development. So the main takeaways from this presentation here is that smart ag is the way towards future farming, but there is a gap in knowledge, and there is also the need for strong funding and investment, and then the policy regulations are also key to drive them into the future. As a forecast by the president of the African Development Bank, he says that I got this, I think, around 2019 or 2020. I made a presentation in Kaduna, and it was in 2020, just before the corona. It was on 20th of January. And I got this quote at that time, that by the year 2030, the size of food and agribusiness in Africa will reach $1 trillion US. So if you are thinking of making money or how to make money, that is the sector to be in. I think this is just my closing remark. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Please, can we once again put our hands together for Prof? Sure, if you want to make money, agribusiness is the way forward. And I believe everyone here wants to make money. And as computer scientists, you can also use your knowledge of AI to leverage on that. Once again, thank you very much. And please, is Dr. Sani Sadiq online?
Nobody. So these are some of the institutions I'm affiliated to. So today I would be sharing with the audience some of the research that we have been doing in our lab. Basically, incubators that rolls out, or that would often rolls out from our lab. So pretty much, this is what I would be discussing with the audience. Emphasize that, often at times we are presented with, certain misconception, especially for most of us who are coming from the developing world, or what they would often refer to as the global south. The picture you see on media, it's not really encouraging. And the sentiment is to say that yes, we are developing country, but the perception that the developed country have is something that would always present an argument that that our progress is stunted by poverty, poor governance, corruption, weak infrastructure, crime, healthcare gaps, food insecurity, name them. And for me, I see this as an opportunity for meaningful contribution, especially within the confines of our research focus, right? But this is not to argue that, challenges don't hit Africa, they do. And some of these challenges are obvious. And the pictures that you are actually seeing here is just to tell you some of the challenges that are pronounced in Africa, that I've actually highlighted. One of it is the way farming is being done in terms of the agricultural sectors, and also in terms of climate change as well. And then we have the aspect of infrastructures. This is actually a town in South Africa that's close to Johannesburg. Johannesburg is one of the biggest cities not in terms of population, but in terms of development in Africa, right? And you would never expect to find a township that has this type of. But this also cut across the whole African continent. Now, one of the things that actually motivated us to use our own scientific understanding and try to drive innovation that are helpful to our immediate society and towards the progress of South Africa. And this is exactly what we've been doing. And I would also want to emphasize here as well that our key research focus area comes within the space of optimization and artificial intelligence. And these two research domain goes hand in hand. And the essence of that is simply because you can't have artificial intelligence without having optimization. Now, painting this very clearly is for me to say that our research focuses on the synergy between nature-inspired optimization and artificial intelligence, where we would often use AI techniques, we leverage these techniques to solve complex optimization problems more efficiently, while at the same time would adapt optimization methods to actually enhance performance of most of the AI models that we work in our lab in terms of performance enhancement, in terms of interpretability, and in terms of reliability of these AI models that we do develop. I mean, just for the record, most of the AI tools that we use, we build them from scratch. Most of the machine learning models that we use, we also develop from scratch within our research lab. So nature-inspired validation techniques, which is one of the fundamental or core pillars of our research, finds application in different in terms of soft computing techniques, neural network, physics systems, evolutionary computation, form intelligence, and reinforcement learning. And each of these cardinal niche area of research would often find real-world application in different key vital sectors, which is part of what I'll just be sharing with us here. And when I say nature-inspired techniques, like I had earlier on emphasized, these optimization or optimizers that we will refer to as tools or our equipment that we use in enhancing our AI model that we build.